love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100.
Hello, welcome back to Big Performance Mentor. I'm your host, Diego Natale. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood phenomena in all human performance. The moment just before the breakthrough that almost everybody abandons, called the Plateau of Latent Potential. A concept that you must understand before you quit, because the finish line could be right in front of you, but it's invisible to your eyes. So let's go into it. Most people quit too early, not because they lack talent, not because they lack discipline, not because the goal was wrong. They quit because they misunderstand how progress actually works. They expect results to be linear. Put in the effort, get the reward in roughly equal proportion. And when that doesn't happen, when the weeks or month of consistent work produce zero visible change, the brain drops a conclusion. Something is wrong, right? Maybe I'm not talented enough. Maybe my method is not right. Maybe the goal was never realistic. So they stop. And in stopping, they abandon the exact moment that was closest to the breakthrough. This gap between effort invested and the results visible to the world, this is what we call the Plateau of Latent Potential. Let me give you the most powerful illustration of this concept. The Chinese bamboo. You plant the seed, you water it every day, and for 4 years, nothing happened. I mean, nothing. No visible growth, no signs of life above the soil. A rational observer looks at this and concludes the seed is dead, one, or the soil is wrong. The effort is wasted, but underground, silently, invisible, you have that the root system is expanding, building the structural foundation capable of supporting what comes next. Then in year 5, the bamboo grows up to 27 meters in 6 weeks. Now, I want to ask you a question and reflect on it. Did the bamboo grow 27 meters in 6 weeks, or it did grow 27 meters in 5 years? Think about it for a minute. The answer is 5 years. Every single day of watering mattered. Every day contributed to an outcome that only became visible at one specific threshold, at that tipping point. Results and efforts are not separated by lack of progress. They are separated by time and threshold. The threshold is that tipping point, that inflection point where everything changes. So don't quit. Wait. The effort will manifest. Here is the sign behind why this feels so hard. Human beings are wired for immediate feedback, immediate reward. Evolutionary survival favor people who could assess cause and effect quickly, like you touch fire, you feel pain, and you learn. The system served our ancestors extremely well, but it served us very poorly when our most meaningful goals are operating in a time scale that is of months, not seconds. When your brain invests effort and detects no reward signal, it interprets that absence as failure. Dopamine, the neurochemical of anticipation and motivation, drops. Your internal narrative shifts from this is working to this is not working. Motivation erodes, consistency breaks. And the plateau, which was never actually a plateau at all, but an accumulation phase where you were improving your skills and reaching full potential, gets abandoned just before that finish line. James Clear, in Atomic Habit, a book that I highly recommend, called this the Valley of Disappointment. That gap between expectations and reality feels like true evidence of failure, when it is actually evidence that you are exactly where the process requires you to be. Now, let me give you a second model, a pretty cool example that I found. And imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a very cold room. Let's say the room is a minus 10 degrees Celsius, and you begin heating the room. At minus 9, nothing. The ice is there. At minus 5, nothing. And then minus 2, nothing. Still nothing. Every degree of heat that you put in that room is real, measurable, and cumulative, but not visible change occur. A frustrated observer may conclude that heat has no effect on ice. Until when? Then the room reaches 0 degrees Celsius and the ice starts melting. Not because the last degree was more powerful than the others, but because all of them together cross the threshold that made transformation possible. This is identical to what happened in your body during fat loss, in your brain during skill acquisition, in your relationships during trust building, in your career during reputation development. The work accumulates, invisible, until the threshold is crossed. And then the change appears to happen suddenly, shocking everybody who was not watching the internal process. Here is the secret. Here is your takeaway. Whenever you pursue a meaningful goal, there are two curves operating simultaneously. The first is the effort curve, rising steadily from day one, every training session, every hour of practice, every discipline choice you make. The second curve is the results curve, which appear completely flat for an uncomfortably very long time. But this curve then rises sharply. The gap between these two curves, where effort is high and results are invisible, this gap is called the Plateau of Latent Potential. It's actually not empty space. It's loaded with compressed potential energy, accumulating beneath the surface, exactly like the bamboo root system, exactly like the hidden room with the ice cube. The tragedy is not that people fail to work hard enough. The tragedy is that they stop working hard at precisely the wrong moment, inside that plateau, meters from the breakthrough, convinced that the absence of visible results means no results are coming. That's a shame. Understanding this concept doesn't make you feel that plateau comfortable at all. It remains frustrating, disorienting, genuinely difficult to endure, but it changes the meaning of the experience, that's for sure. Instead of interpreting the absence of visible results as a signal to stop, you interpret it as confirmation that the accumulation phase is underway. The root system is expanding, the room is heating, the threshold is approaching. And here is what I want you to take away from this episode today. The single most important competitive advantage available to any human being pursuing a difficult goal is the willingness to remain consistent inside the plateau longer than everyone else, because almost everyone quits here. The results were never invisible. They were latent, stored, accumulating, and waiting for the threshold that only the ones who stay would ever get to see. So, in this episode, we have seen the plateau of latent potential. That is a gap between effort and visible results. It's not a failure, it's an accumulation. I gave you the bamboo principle that grows, 27 meters in 6 weeks, or 5 years of invisible root growth. The valley of disappointment, that the expectation versus reality gap that feels like failure but signals progress. The ice cube model. Every degree counts. The transformation happens at the threshold, not before. And this graph with the two curves. Effort rises from day one, results curves appear flat and then explodes. And the cognitive edge that you need to take away is staying consistent inside the plateau longer than everybody else. And this is all I have for you today. If you find this useful, please click the subscribe button below so other people can benefit from the material presented here. And I'm gonna leave you as I always do. Be grateful for all those little positive things you have, and you will unfold a life of gratitude. Be nicer to each other, and know that you are appreciated, my friend. Until next time, this is Peak Performance Mentor. Ciao.
Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,